Requested Graffiti 6 kicking off the k-lite K-Drive here on k-lite 94.7. It's Adam here with you, and we're going to hang out until 6 o'clock. Stick around. Big day musically. Of course, VMAs, MTV VMAs, they are coming up tonight. Going to talk about that. Got some news that's going to make you feel good. Some news that's going to make you smile. And some news that's just plain awesome. There's this new study that maybe makes us think cake for breakfast is healthy. Yeah, good news. All right, so we'll talk about that in just a few minutes, too. And if you got a request, I want to know. Let me know. What do you want to hear this afternoon? 789-6664 with your request. Got some Stone Temple Pilots coming up in just a couple minutes. Right now, it's the latest from Matchbox 20. She's so mean. We've all had that moment, you know, when you don't know if you want to fit in or if you want to just be the oddball out of everyone. Yeah, I've had that moment a lot of times. Just like, last night I was eating dinner in it doesn't matter where, but it was in it was a school cafeteria type setting. And, there were a bunch of people I didn't know. And everyone knew everyone, already. I guess they, lived on campus or what have you. They were sitting in their own clusters, though, and, I have my food, and I'm faced with a decision. Do I try to make new friends? Do I sit alone? What would you do if everyone knew everyone, but no one knew you? Would you just go sit alone, because no one knows you? Or would you just barge in with a bunch of people who already know one another? That's my question. Do you try to make friends, or do you just sit back and see if anybody talks to you? By the way, they didn't. 789-6664, let's talk about it. I was talking about how I was in an environment yesterday evening, having a late dinner, and I had my food. This was in a cafeteria type setting. Everyone there knew everyone. I knew no one there, though. I'm not a regular. Do I sit alone, or do I go sit in one of the clusters where everyone knows everyone? That was my big decision. We need to be social, right?
You ask a question about whether that you go over and you talk to the other people, or you sit alone.
Do you just sit? I mean, they already know each other,
Okay. You never sit alone.
So you go right with this group of people who know each other, and no one knows you.
And you say, I'm Adam, glad to meet you, but never sit alone, no one.
I sat alone yesterday. I just kept hoping someone would come over and see me.
Don't do that. Carry a conversation. Say, how's your day going?
I'm not good at carrying conversations.
Oh, buddy.
Your thoughts, 789-6664. On wins at 4:15. Also going to get to the cake here in just a couple minutes. I told you earlier that maybe eating cake for breakfast is healthy. I'll tell you why if you stay around for about 5 minutes. Hang on. So a new study out of Israel has found that if you want to lose weight, you should eat a big piece of cake with breakfast. Seriously, in their study, they monitored two groups of people who were dieting, and the people in the two groups ate about the same stuff, basically. One group, though, ate delicious dessert with their breakfast every single day. And after 32 weeks, the people who ate dessert with their breakfast every day lost an average of 40 pounds more than the people who didn't. That's an insane weight loss, but here's why. When you eat dessert in the morning, that spikes your metabolism, and you have all day to burn it off. More importantly, you stop that dessert craving that you have later in the day, because people who didn't have dessert for breakfast showed withdrawal symptoms. They'd end up eating more in the afternoon. Eventually, all of them caved, started eating desserts in the afternoon, later in the day, and it didn't help their metabolism. It didn't give them time to burn it off. So that means no cake right now. It's too late in the day already. No cake, but for breakfast, yeah, that's okay. That helps your metabolism throughout the day, and you have all day to burn off that piece of cake. If you eat it right now, nope, you're going to bed a little bit later. So that's the way that works. No cake right now. Maybe you can consider it in the morning. No cake right now, though. Don't think about cake. Just try to get that word cake out of your head. Let's just listen to some more music. This is a band called Cake. Short skirt, long jacket, k-lite FM.
I want a girl Cheerio.
Date deal breakers. What is a deal breaker on a date? There's this list here that was in the studio, and I don't know. I mean, maybe a little bit, but, I don't know if this is the real thing. What is, I want to know yours, though. What is the biggest date deal breaker? It doesn't matter if a boy or a girl. Let me know. 789-6664. This is going to be interesting this afternoon. 789-6664. Yellow card right now.
If I could write back to the kid I was
We're talking about deal breakers for dates, and we want to know yours. I got this list here, this survey that was done, and I'm not sure if these are really the reasons that people get dumped, but Kira says that a deal breaker for her is when someone is talking too much about exes, especially on the first and second date. Calling you by the ex's name, yeah, that wouldn't be good. But talking about your ex too much, anything ex, Kira says no, not on the first or second date. And in fact, that's on this list. 70% of people say talking too much about your ex is a date deal breaker. You might not get another date if you're talking about an ex. Why is that, though? Does it mean, do people just not want to hear about it? Is that all it is? Or is it maybe, if you're talking about an ex, you're still in love with them, Is that what that is? I don't know. That's a good question, too. But my real question for you is, what do you say is a big date deal breaker? 789-6664. I mean, it's an ex. I mean, we are never getting back together anyway, right?
I remember when we broke up.
Wrapping up our discussion on date deal breakers. We've already talked about the exes thing, but on this list, they say using your cell phone too much is a date deal breaker for a lot of people. Poor hygiene is another. Being rude to a server or hostess, that's a big turnoff. Or flirting with the server and hostess, that might even be worse.
It's been a while.
Have you heard about this yet? Apparently, thousands of fish and seagulls were found dead on the shores of Lake Erie. It was on the Canada side, but it was like a 25-mile stretch of Lake Erie's Canada shore. And it's been since Saturday that residents have been reporting an overwhelming smell of dead fish. That would be bad. But it's on the Canada side, so I guess it's Canada's problem, and not Ohio's or whatever. Kind of like, I don't know if anyone remembers this. It was a year or two ago. I remember this story out of, I believe it was Arkansas, and there was this area where there were birds that had fallen out of the sky, dead, all over the ground, in just one small area. And I think that was in Arkansas. I could be mistaken there, but that's just weird. And they were looking for the explanation of it. I never heard anything more about it. It makes you wonder, is there something really fishy, no pun intended, behind that, though? I mean, these kind of things that we don't know. Because we never hear anything else. But hey, I got some good news, though. Those are kind of bad news stories. This is a really cool news story. If you remember back in the 90s, the movie Homeward Bound, where the pets got lost and they somehow walk hundreds of miles back home to their owners, apparently that really has happened now. There's this man who was moving to a new place in Myrtle Beach and didn't have anywhere to keep his 3-year-old black lab, so he took it to his father's farm in Winchester, Virginia, and that was while he was moving all the stuff. And it's about 450 to 500 miles away from Myrtle Beach there. And this dog ran away from his dad's farm, and he told the man about what happened. And then 2 months later, the dog turned up in Myrtle Beach, which means he walked nearly 500 miles away to be home with his owner, to be reunited. He actually didn't show up at his back door, though. He ended up at a shelter in Myrtle Beach, but they were able to identify him by microchip and get him returned to his owner. Very incredible. Animals are smarter than we give them credit for. You know what? Kelly Clarkson.
Grew up in a small town.
I also just heard of a story you said about a dog.
Yeah, it traveled almost 500 miles, and it didn't actually show up at the man's backyard of his owner, but he came to the same town.
I haven't really, kind of odd, but when I was a kid, I remember a book that I read, Santa Claus the dog, or Come Home Santa Claus, and the dog's name was Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. When I heard that, it kind of brought that
kind of
back.
remember that. And then there was that movie Homeward Bound that I was comparing it to. I mean, that's a happy ending story, but it kind of makes me sad because I know that my cat couldn't make it home if I were to walk it 25 feet from the house. So
it's the K-Lite K-Drive with Adam. Afternoons on K-Lite 94.7.
And then the funny part in the video. Anyway, the 2012 Video Music Awards air live tonight at 8 o'clock on MTV. Carly Rae Jepsen, she is up for the Best New Artist tonight at the VMAs. Linkin Park, Maroon 5, Katy Perry, and Gaudier also up for awards. Don't miss that tonight. It starts at 8 o'clock. This is The Script on k-lite.
Yeah, you could be the greatest.
If you got a little bit of extra money this month, there's quite a few things you might want to spend it on. There are 7 big ticket items that we found that you can get the best deals on in September. I'll tell you what those 7 items are after this song. It is September by Daughtry.
At the time passed away, it was worth it in the end.
September. Requested Daughtry on k-lite 94.7. So, 7 big ticket items you can save big on this month in September. They say number 1, topping the list of all things you'd think it would be something like cars or something like that. Mattresses. Right now is when mattress stores are they're trying to get rid of their old inventory, and the deal started over the weekend. They'll continue through the rest of the month. Mattresses. But flights for Thanksgiving, it's a good time to go ahead and get those booked. Cars, it's the best month to buy a new car in September. This cheapism.com says so. As long as you're not looking for a brand new 2013 model. Right now, the dealers are trying to get rid of the 12 models and make room for the new ones. It's a good time to buy bicycles. September is also when the new models of bicycles come out, so kind of like the car thing. And they also say that September is a good time to buy major appliances, plants for your backyard, and a great time to buy lawnmowers. Too bad I'm not going to need a lawnmower next month. I hope. Can't go wrong with Nickelback. Chad Kroeger engaged to Avril Lavigne. Canadian people getting married. All right, so it's Adam here, and I've had a good evening. It doesn't seem like very long ago. It was 3 o'clock. It's already 6. Hey, tomorrow is Friday, so we'll speak again. We'll even have a better day than today. We've had a good day. We've talked everything from how I have some time socially yesterday. Did you hear about that a little bit earlier? I was in that situation where, like, do I sit with these complete strangers or do I sit all by myself? They all know each other. I don't, And I ended up eating last night by myself. And I was somewhere where no one knew who I was, though. I didn't know anyone there. I didn't, start going up to them. Hey, I'm Adam from the radio. But so I ate by myself. But that was what happened. And listener Brenda called, said, never, ever sit by yourself. So that's the lesson learned that we're going to take away from today's show. Maybe the strangers would have been nice. Who knows? All right. So anyway, let's move things along. I will talk to you tomorrow, though, under better terms, being Friday tomorrow and all. We're going to forget the format and go a little retro, too. Have a little bit of fun with that tomorrow afternoon. Jason Bowers is up next. He's got a good idea for a new game show. Maybe Wheel of Taylor Swift, which is kind of like Wheel of Fortune, but his idea is to lay out all of the guys' pictures or whatever names on a wheel that Taylor Swift has dated, and she can spin it and then have another wheel or something. I don't know. And it's supposedly he says this is a good way to create new Taylor Swift songs that haven't already been written, but they sound just like the ones that already have, because I guess he feels like they're all the same. So anyway, that's coming up with Jason here next hour here on K-Lite. So stick around for him, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good evening. I am out of here. Later.